Hi, and welcome to Lighting the Bay, where our stadium is a brand new slip and slide. I'm Brian. That's Colin, and that's Liam, and we're here to break down RIFC games with statistical and tactical breakdowns. Now, we played our first game.
Yeah, we lost 2-0 to the Charleston Battery. We came to play, but we didn't play.
Yeah, it,
That's
it was not
was bad.
awesome. But the company was good. The company was good. Everyone at the guild, thank you. It was a
Shout
great
out.
first watch party of the year. Pretty dope.
Nice
Pretty dope.
crowd, big crowd. Big,
Good to
big
see a bunch
honking
of people.
crowd. Yeah. But that's not what we're here to
Yeah.
talk about. We're not a crowd podcast.
No.
We're not a podcast at all. We just talk about soccer and look at videos.
Like
The
this
good
video
crowd
right
was not.
now.
Like this
And
video
that's a
right now.
good video.
Do we want to just get into it? It was
That's
not
what
good.
we're here to do, Colin, you know?
Yeah. Take it away.
Well, you're going to have to pull it up, but we're going to start with just the starting lineup. Yeah, we are in black. We're on the right side. We were all waiting with bated breath on what it was going to look like. We had heard in the buildup that Grant picked up a knock, so there was a chance he was either not going to start, and we saw him come off the bench. And we didn't really know like the status of some of the other players. So like Ugo was out, Danny was out, Isaac's still out, but we ran out this lineup and there's a few key things that were a little bit different.
Real quick, let's run
Yep.
through it in case folks don't know the numbers by heart. In net, we had Koke.
Mhm.
Right back, we had Jojea Quazera because, duh. Of course he plays there. Clay Holstead, center back. Duh.
Duh.
Grifa Yao. That's a crazy photo of Grifa.
It looks like a baby.
Frank and the Darcy, of course. Aldair Sanchez, photoless. Marky Barra, also photoless. Taimu Kiyoshi. Maxi Rodriguez. Albert Chico Dikwa. And Noah Fuson. That's also a
crazy photo. And so the kind of the big key standouts are we had 3 debuts for the team. Number 21, Maxi Rodriguez. Number 8, big shirt to be wearing, Taimu Okiyoshi. And number 3, Aldair Sanchez. 3 new guys into this system. And the other kind of glaring thing is what's happening on the right side of defense. We have seen Clay play at right center back, but it's just not like the favored thing for him to be playing at. But the big one is Jojea Quazera. Did not look great, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you can see the vision, but as we'll get on to, well, we can start with it really, right? Like,
Yeah,
it felt
I would
like
say
the
so.
coach was doing so much fun stuff with nobody being on the same page. If Jojea is inverting all the way up here and he's only going to come in left, you need to make sure that he's allowed to do that by his team surrounding him. And
Yeah.
I don't think we saw that.
No, you were mentioning it when we were rewatching it, but there was only one moment that it kind of clicked.
Yeah.
In around the 30th minute where Clay finally tries like an overlap, and I don't think that's like a him thing trying to not do them throughout the match, but it's just a thing we're not used to seeing, and it looked quite all right. The idea was really good, but it only happened once. Really, it just became incredibly predictable from Jojea because he was just going to get the ball and get on his left foot
Yeah,
and
there was
cut inside.
nothing
And there
else.
was no space for him to move into.
Mhm.
Because as you were saying, for all of our football manager players, if you ever look at your average team positioning, it was kind of like Noah, Maxi, and Jojea were just kind of standing on top of each other
Yeah,
in
like
that.
right in this area.
Yeah.
Ish.
And the idea of it is really interesting. So this is really one of like the biggest moments we could see the vision of getting Jojea out on the right wing is him making these runs that we're used to him making, these right down the wing runs. And then as he steps inside, we get this really dangerous idea of a ball. This in-swinger that, like, if you guys watched the first Charleston game of this season, and then also our game against Charleston in the semifinals, where Juan David Torres steps up and hits in-swinging set pieces like that, they're incredibly dangerous because you're setting an in-swinger coming in for a man to run onto. And if you get it on frame from the in-swinger, you're putting the keeper in jail because he can't react until something happens. And by the time something happens, it's too late for him. So either that something is the ball just goes into the back of the net, or a striker runs onto it and changes the direction of the ball. But this kind of goes hand in hand with the scarcity of help up front for this team from us in the first half. We just left Chico all by himself.
Hopeless Chico.
It really didn't look good at all. This is really shows the change into our 4-2-3-1 formation here. And it really just leaves Chico isolated. If you want to pause it right here, actually, it's really interesting because thinking of who's out on the field, because we normally play with 3-5-2, you would expect, at least I would have expected, when we switched into this 4-2-3-1, that the left midfielder out of everything would be Aldair Sanchez, because he's like the left wing back and could slot up really well. But we pushed Mark Ibarra up into that area. And as we all know, we love him up there, but he's not a left midfielder. That is not his job. He's much more industrious in and around the areas, deeper in midfield. So it was weird seeing that flip. I also thought it was really crazy seeing Jojea invert to be the second 6 alongside Taimu.
Yeah, like that we saw right over here.
Yeah, to me, I just expected Clay to push up and we just keep Jojea as the dedicated right back, but Jojea was the one to invert. And it was strange to me because I also had just issues with the team selection in positioning, at least. Not really with the players, but where they were in the midfield specifically, because we kind of just let Taimu sort of rot in the beginning of this game in the deep lying playmaker area. It just didn't really, the structure and the fluidity of how this game plan was laid out was not good for a lot of these new guys in the team, you know? And I think just not good for the team in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about the structure or anything.
Yeah, I think that, we talked about it. It's kind of like, it kind of feels like Coach bungled it a little bit. Like, these are all kind of fun things to try throughout the course of a season, but like against Charleston in the first game feels audacious, to say the least. Didn't strike me as the best idea. Like, I mean, and again, I'm not against some of the things that we're doing. It's just like you can't do everything at once. It's just not how things work.
Yes.
We talked a lot about yesterday when we were doing our rewatch. Like, you have to have structure behind your ideas. And with Jojea pushing up and inverting, and then also with having like Clay be the center back behind him, two things that are like somewhat new, right? You're kind of just leaving a like mess behind you, and you have Maxi, who's also on that like right space, also kind of being like in an awkward position. Basically, it was just a lot of awkwardness behind all of the ideas, and it felt like nothing. If you told me that this was the first time the team had done this, would I be shocked? No.
It felt like there should have been a little bit more of a sense of pragmatism behind this starting lineup, knowing how rotated and how new it was going to be, and to kind of still try to go pretty heavily attack minded against a Charleston side that was going to all like give us problems. It felt a little naive.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it yesterday with the structure and everything, but having two guys like Maxi and Noah as your number 10s, because pretty much Noah didn't really play as a second striker, at least for like the first half.
It's like Chico was just alone.
We pretty much played like a 5-2-2-1, and having just two really creative guys, but who have permission to just roam the pitch, it doesn't really suit a team well if everybody else is allowed to just kind of go where they want to. Like, there was many moments we saw yesterday where no one was in the midfield. There was literally nobody in the midfield. It would be like Jojea, Maxi, and Chico were out on the right wing. Noah and Mark were on the left side, and then it was just
like
maybe Taimu Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
giant gaps,
It's crazy.
and you just need to be able to have like if you're gonna let those two guys run wild, you need to give a lot more structure to the players around them. Not everyone should be playing in a very fluid style because
Right,
then
right.
everyone's gonna just be somewhere else and not covering or being in an advantageous spot.
Yeah. Let's talk about what happened in the second half when, in the 57th minute, J.J. Williams came on, as well as somebody else that I can't remember. His
Zach
name?
Harrell came
Zach
on.
Harrell.
I
That's right.
remember him.
Now I remember. How could I forget Zach, my king? Now, what was so interesting? You would think Zach coming on, you're like, huh, is Zach going to be in the midfield? No, bro. He's going to play right center back instead of Clay Holstad. And Clay's going to step into the midfield. And then we started.
Because we brought off Aldair Sanchez and Marky Barra,
Oh,
the like for like
right.
replacements. JJ for Aldair and Zach for Mark.
Yeah, JJ left wing back.
Yeah,
And
we
that's when we started to see more of, the Rhode Island FC we know and love. As you would say.
yeah, because we in that sub window we also then brought Jojea back to the left side.
Mm-hmm.
Clay stepped up into the left-sided six for Mark, and then Zach was right center back. And then we pushed Noah out to the right wing back. And kind of it really didn't even, he played as a right wing back, but to me it looked a lot more like he was just another winger, just like straight up winger, because I think what really worked was having Zach on that right hand side allowed the midfielders in front of him to step up higher because he could just push up into the midfield like we saw with like Grant Stoneman. And it was that thing of having a midfielder in the midfield. Shocker. And so that would then have Clay push up. Taimu looked so much better in the second half. I have to say, I'm really excited for him. I think his like
I thought that
range
he
of
really.
passion. I think a lot of what he did. I think he embodies so much about what this team is about.
He feels like a good, he feels like a great kind of pivot guy. Great guy to.
Yes.
Like, I think that, Maxi, I think, was good. I think that he was quiet-ish. I think that what we saw out of Alder Sanchez was like really exciting.
I
Honestly.
really liked it. I really liked it.
He didn't get on the ball a lot, but like when he did, you were like, hang on a minute, maybe we have something
Yep.
here. And
Yeah.
I think that though, like out of the three new additions, really, Taimu is like he felt like. I think FOPMOP gave him a 6.3, and I was like, that is an undersell on what he did.
Yeah, that is brutal because once we brought the team that we're like so used to seeing on, that's where the structure came back. Everybody knew where they were supposed to play. People were given really defined roles, and that just allowed players to play with confidence. We didn't really mention it early on, but like everybody looked so sluggish through the first 60 minutes. Like our defense, we didn't even mention the goals. The goals were horrible. The goals were horrible to concede. Two set pieces that really could have been, the first one absolutely could have been avoided. Second one, Frank has to jump. People have to take responsibility. But we were just so lackadaisical. And JJ is a player whose impact is felt instantly, not even just like a physical impact, but like he got subbed on right as we had that Clay long throw into the box, and his first touch was a contested header, and he like either hit the deck or he definitely got his head to it, but like in that moment he got revved up, and it just felt like the team woke up from that moment, and it just looked a lot better. Taimu had a role as like defined as the deep line playmaker. Clay got to go higher, join the midfield with Maxi, and who's our other guy? Noah. You ever heard of him? And then having Jojea actually play as left wing back, and then our two big striker lads. It was great. It was incredible. I think we'd agree felt a little weird to bring Grant in like
Yeah, it's like you bring
6
Grant
or
on 10
10
minutes
minutes
later.
later.
And then you, yeah, and then you move Zach up. It's like, why not just bring Grant on earlier? He had to be
Yeah,
on like he must. I'm pulling up what time he got subbed in on. He played
it's
for
somewhere
21 minutes. So if there
like,
was like 3 minutes of stoppage time or something like that, so 93 minus 21, he played from like the
the
76
70th
ish.
minute
Yeah,
around
70th
there.
minute, let's say. And like that's a weird minutes cap. Like no more than 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially to like have made the bench
Yeah,
and
it's like
still
you're
be
not
like a
gonna.
viable option to come off the
This is
bench.
one of your like. This is your center back on the bench. That is the defensive option you have, like out and out. You're
Yeah,
not gonna. Yeah, like there's
Well,
no reason.
also, like, who could have, like, replaced him, you know? Who could have came in instead
well,
of him?
Yeah, well, yeah.
exactly. And it felt kind of weird, the sub windows. It felt like there should have been a halftime sub.
There was no
Nonetheless,
change at halftime after like a really shit half. It's pretty
yeah,
insane.
there was no tactical tweaks, nothing to really attempt to change, because even like you would think after getting battered for the first half, you'd come out with a little
You
bit of
do
energy.
something different. Yeah. No,
Like
no way.
we played something kind of nice for the first 2 minutes. Their first counterattack, they just tore through us like Swiss cheese. Our back line looked like they could not be asked. It was
And it
just
was
not good.
bad. It was bad.
It
It was
was
all bad. And we suck. And you know what I think? I think that we're gonna finish third still because I'm not an eternal pessimist.
I
Just
think we're
because we
gonna
had a
get
bad first.
relegated. And then we're gonna get relegated again. And then the team's gonna disband next year. That's what's gonna happen. Hey, but the team won't disband when King Joe Brito, and Amos Shapiro
come
Thompson
on,
come in
come on,
towards the end
turn
of the
me
game.
up.
Oh.
It was like when Falcon entered the portal in Endgame, and like the whole team is Captain America, and then it's like, oh my goodness, both of them. It was like
Yeah.
Christmas.
No, truly, truly. I mean, Joe Brito, 100% shot on target
Got a what
ratio is.
13.85 minutes shot on target ratio.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see. Joe Brito. Golly, Joe Brito had. Fuck, Joe,
He
where
had,
are you?
he had
13.85 shots per shots on target per 90. It's
yeah,
hilarious. I mean, earlier in the week, I was texting with Colin about like the fact that we don't have a like backup striker. And I had said that Joe Brito is going to be our third striker king, and here he is. He showed
he
up in a big way.
it
And,
was
like
it was
he was
great.
he was great. He was the only thing that like the only player on that team that looked like he gave any resemblance of a care. You know what I mean? Like he showed fight. He showed passion.
Yeah,
It's
it
also not
was.
true. Like Maxi was shouting the whole match. Like the team obviously was not happy that we were losing, but like he came in and he really started playing like from that first minute.
Yeah, it was. It was like I think it was a really well timed substitution, because we were already like around 20ish minutes since like Zach and JJ came on. Like we were creating. We were starting to look dangerous. We were getting plays. Actually, can we bring up a clip of something? I think we've got the perfect example of like how dangerous we are.
Now everybody watch this clip of Joe Brito and what he does. This
He's not
isn't
on the
Joe, is it?
field. He's
This
not
isn't
on the
Joe.
field yet. This
I was gonna say.
this is kind of quintessential how we played with our two strikers together. The little turn of phrase of the up, back, and through really shines through here. This pass, bounce, boom,
Ooh,
right
so
through.
nice.
I think that is
Let's see that again for the folks in the
quintessential
back.
how we play. Is up to
Okay.
one striker, down to the pivot, the number 10, and then second strikers making that run in over the top. And what's great about it is that it's JJ having the layoff on the first one and Chico trying to break the press and get there. But both of them can do it. I think that's what's so good about the two guys together, is that we really do have the ability to just dominate teams with both of
Yeah.
our strikers.
Yeah.
And
I don't know actually who plays this ball, but like I want to say this ball is actually disgusting to Chico. He's
I
onside.
think that, yeah,
I think he's onside. Ooh, I
that's
think he's
Maxi, I
onside.
think.
That's
And
a filthy ball.
it's a really good one. The pass up from Zach there up to JJ is also a very nice pass, leading off of what you were saying. As we started to like grow more and more into the game, you could tell that Charleston stopped pressing us. So it was a really interesting balance on seeing how we can react to that, because we like to just, build from the back. And there was a good amount of time where they would not really send any pressure onto our back three and just really compact the midfield and the back line. So we ended up having to really try to play these like incredibly precise long passes out to the wings, and it's sort of untenable because you've got to be perfect on these passes. And earlier in the game we were talking about in our rewatch how it felt like we were trying to bait them with their press and create an artificial counter.
Check out last week's video.
Yes, sir. And it felt like we weren't we weren't comfortable on the field. I don't know, we slipped like 9 times. It felt like we couldn't really ever really get our footing in the game, but they stopped pressing us. So instead of being able to play in over the top against them, we ended up having to just build, which we can do, but it wasn't like the main game plan. But once we started getting into their final like third, the crosses from Jojea looked great. Joe was showing up right at the penalty spot. Probably should have scored both of his chances, but that second cross that Jojea sent in was beautiful, right onto Joe's noggin to pick him out. It just looked like what we have seen.
Yeah, I
all
think
throughout
that
the
if
end of
we
last
can,
year.
my bad. I'm just playing. I'm
The
just playing. I'm
floor
just,
is yours.
I'm just joking. Yeah, I feel like if we just, building blocks, right? Like if you come out against who are we playing, Phoenix next game, and you kind of you don't wait 56 minutes to do no works, I think we'll be just fine. But to sum up this past game, I think that it was a whole lot of. I think it was a whole lot of.
Whoa.
It was a big steam and load up.
Whoa! You kiss your mother with that mouth?
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness.
It was a
Oh
whole
my
lot of.
Lord.
Yep, I'll say it again too. But you know what? The game against Phoenix, it'll be better. I hope. I think that this is not a sign of things to come for us. I don't think that this is like a panic button moment.
In
It
our
is
notes, you wrote in all caps, bold and underlined.
No, not all
We'll
caps.
be
Not all
fine.
caps. It's
It was
only one
italicized.
letter is capped.
Yeah.
But also,
It was a capital W E apostrophe LL space BE space FINE period. Bolded, underlined, and italicized.
And commented on.
and highlighted.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said that. But
Commented on with a heart, or sorry, yeah, well, with 2 hearts and a yes.
but I
Really
don't know.
showing our spirit.
Okay. Fucking motherfucker. Let me talk. Let me say my goddamn thing. Yeah, like when you said we didn't win until 7 games in last year. So,
Yeah.
we can, if we win our 6th game, perfectly fine. That's an
Yeah,
Amen.
better than we were.
Amen. Amen.
So it'll be fine, and
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be at the guild on Saturday.
Yep, in our pajamas.
Nice night. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Slumber
PJ
party.
night.
PJ
night at the
night.
guild. Get it going, guys. Get it going.
Bring your air
Is,
mattresses after the game. We're just gonna sleep over.
Lumpy party.
Yeah, we've got connections at the guild. No, we don't. But if we did, we'd be like slumber party at the guild. I call sleeping in the bathroom stall.
What?
Freak.
Please.
I'm gonna sleep upside down from the rafter like a bat.
Oh.
Gripping on with your toes.
Mm.
Well, to catch Brian gripping onto the ceiling with his toes, pull up to the guild and check out next week's episode where Brian just hangs for an hour straight.
Yep. But in order to get to that next episode, we have to end this one which it's been a pleasure talking. All
Thanks,
of our
guys.
links and stuff are in the description. Like every like, comment, subscribe, share, favorite.
Ring the bell.
Ring the
Get
bell.
notifications. Turn on
Ring the
post
bell.
notifications.
Yeah. Ring the bell.
We're
ring the bell,
so
ring the bell.
active on.
Ring that bell. That's the noise that
We're-
you'll hear if you ring that bell. Like this bell.
New sub.
Find us on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. We on all of them. So come check those out because
Find
we're
us in
going
person.
crazy out there.
You know where we are? We're out here.
Come say hi in person. Yeah.
Yeah. You can pull up to Colin's house at That's how we need to end it. Pull up to Colin's house.
Bye.
All right.
Hi.
Bye.